biggest problem with the Forteza for me is incoherency problem. I think you're better off spending your money on a more resolving single dynamic driver. Hello everyone, welcome. I'm the Tone Deaf Monk. Today I want to share with you another IM that I picked up for myself because I was excited for this one. This is the KiwiEars Forteza. Now, ever since the cadenza, the original single dynamic, I've been shooting for, I really like that IM. I was shooting for a winner chicken dinner. And I've gone through all of them since then. The quartet, I haven't got the quintet yet. It's coming in our group. So the quartet, orchestra light, and what else? The melody. And I haven't saw a banger since the original cadenza for me. I know there's a lot of hype about all of the KiwiEars, sets, and I hear people saying that, they haven't missed. Well, they haven't actually landed one since the cadenza, in my opinion. And the Forteza, let's talk about that. So this is a 2-dynamic single balanced armature. I'll tell you straight up, spoiler alert, that though I think it sounds okay, that's about where it kind of ended for me, just in the okay category. Now, let's talk about the Forteza in its sound, because that is the most important thing. I'm sure you would agree. 110mm dynamic driver, 16mm for the bass. The hen was for the lows. And the BA is a custom high mid BA. I have the same issue with I had from pretty much every IM KiwiEars has made since the cadenza. Too much of the marketing, too much of the cosmetics and the fluff, and not enough put into quality drivers. The orchestra light, you could hear clearly balanced armature sound, sibilance, not sibilance so much as the balanced armature sound. And you only get that really with either not the best tuning or not the best drivers. And it's the same thing that came to mind when I was listening to these. So first thing I wrote after doing my listening impressions was, what a strange tuning. This is the way I hear this set. So I hear authoritative sub bass when there's stuff in the track. A very large bass shelf kind of lends itself to that part of the bass and the overall tuning signature of this IM. The problem comes in the bass wise in the lower bass and the mid bass. Though it has it there, it's just not in quality. And that has come to play in part, I think, to the quality of the drivers as well. The mids, to me, with this 6mm dynamic driver, sound a bit nasally and distant. For correct tonal accuracy, the way things that I think should sound don't sound like that. That's what I mean by that. And for me, I've been spending more and more weight on my reviews with correct tonality. Do instruments sound the way they should sound? Do bass guitars sound the way they should sound? Do kick drums sound like they should sound? Do vocals? And does Rod Stewart sound like Rod Stewart, or Tiny Tim? Right? Who do they sound? When I listen to Sting and Shaggy, right? They have unique vocal characteristics, and do they sound like that? And when I'm doing reviews for IAMs, I'm not just sitting back and listening to this IAM. I am listening to this IAM and then going to my reference, right? So if I wanted to listen to tonal accuracy for timbre correctness, I will stick in my Soft Ears Twilight. I don't think there's anything better in that single dynamic that brings out what I think things should sound like, and that's my reference. So, and that's when I'm doing a comparison. It's easy for people just to say, oh, it sounds like this, but what are you comparing it to? I mean, you really have to give it a frame of reference, I think, right? It kind of lends itself to a darker mid-range, and instruments just sound a bit off. Highs are sibilant as well, which I found, and have a kind of cheap BA timbre to them, but that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem with the Forteza for me is incoherency problem. So it sounds like you got this subwoofer and then a gap and then mids and then a gap and then highs. They're not well blended together to make one coherent musical stream together. The three, you can hear that there's three drivers playing three different tones or sections or responsibility. And I don't think one did the best job out of all of them. I think they all kind of shit the bed on this one. And so that was some listening impressions right off like a dongle, and I'll just talk about sources for a second. So I was listening to some more dongles. I was listening to the DD Hi-Fi 4.4 balanced off of my Samsung phone, and it really played that out. I mean, it's quite a detailed little dongle. In a Cirrus Logic dongle, and then I tried it off the Shandling M8 and the Ibasso DX170, and by different degrees of warmth and kind of resolving sources, the more this came into play. The more resolving source, the more that that it brought it out. Like, I listened to it, I tried it, put it on a 2.5 balance cable, put it onto the little ED1 E1DA SG3, extremely resolving little dongle, and it kind of affirmed my impression that the more resolving the source, the more that this would it would separate the three, right? It would be the bass, mids, treble. And part of that is this. It wouldn't be so bad if I think the 6mm mid-range, which does most of the frequency spectrum, was better quality. It's not a very resolving dynamic driver to bring out the nuances. Switching to a pure copper cable, I was using the TRN T-tips. Fit, shape, shell, everything gorgeous here. Like, they spent too much time on the shells and not enough time on the tunings and quality of the drivers. As you get to a warmer source, it mitigates that effect quite a lot. So, but then you don't get a very resolving IAM sound. And with the spicier treble with a more resolving source, it kind of tamed that down. And again, taming stuff down, you can do a lot with tips and cables, for sure. Not a big fan of the stock cable at all. And again, I guess part of my problem with this set too is the costing for what you get. You don't get an option for balanced cable. You don't get a very good cable. You get mediocre tips. You get a little case. Again, they're kind of just throw-ins, right, to complete a package, but not a lot of thought went into it. And then also when you get into the other part of it too, which is kind of the stage too. I'm a big stage monger as well. This one just really presented for me inside of my headspace, very confined, left, center, right, only below average in my opinion. And I don't want to keep sounding like I'm dumping on this set. I obviously wouldn't recommend it, especially for the price. And one of the things that I wrote on my notes is, do I hate it? Do I want to? I don't want to come across as I hate this IM. It's more of a morbid fascination of giving it high marks for having quite a different tuning, and I will give it high marks for having a bit different tuning. Though I don't think they were going for that, but that's what it achieved. It's off your beaten path, and it's not your typical chi-fi tuning. Though the incoherency, some might not even hear it or understand that what I'm talking about. But hopefully, as you're hearing me describe it, it'll kind of make sense if you listen to it. I mean, you get the sub bass, then there's a gap, and then it picks up to the mids, but again, it's not resolving enough to be tonally accurate as well, to be right on the vocals and instruments. And then the upper treble is funky, and then you get this sibilant kind of top end for me. That's how I hear the Forteza. I think you're better off spending your money on a more resolving single dynamic driver. The SIMGOT EA500LM is coming out, and I will honestly tell you that this is not even remotely close to what that single dynamic driver can do for around the same price. So if you were thinking about honestly picking up the KiwiEars Forteza, save your money, wait for the SIMGOT EA500LM. Honestly, it's this set has missed the mark again for me, and I'm honestly saddened that KiwiEars for me keeps missing. You know, the cadenza I loved, I put it on my year end. I love this IM the most. And since then, I can't appreciate any of the stuff that's come out since then. Even the melody in planar went too far the other way of trying to not make it a planar sounding, and kind of missed the boat as well, though it has some very redeeming qualities. The quintet, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hopeful that is going to be the savior for me for KiwiEars. But if KiwiEars watches this, here's some feedback, please. Cut down the amount of marketing and the hoopla, and you don't need to do 3 different shells and make them all super, super pretty. I love that, though. I mean, I think the looks of your IMs are fantastic, but put more attention and money into the quality of the drivers that you are putting inside of these, and tuning. Like, put more attention to that. If you put, some of that's going to come into play with a better quality driver, where you're not going to have to play around so much with the tune. It'll do it more naturally. KiwiEars Forteza, though, You didn't do it for me. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate all of you. Till the next short one coming out.